You ready? Well, good Thursday morning, everyone. This is a fun time to be in Decatur. Memorial Day weekend is typically, last year is one of the funnest times of the year, with the Alabama Jubilee coming to town, and then opening the Point Mallard Aquatic Center. Last year we had hoped to celebrate our 50th anniversary of the Aquatic Center, and we had to move that to this year, and we're really looking forward to a fun year at the park. We have a birthday party planned tomorrow night. There are tickets available for that event, to include a laser show. And then of course the Alabama Jubilee will begin Saturday morning. I believe the first flight is set for 6:30. They'll have a pilot's briefing at 6, and there's a schedule online at alabamajubilee.net. That's alabamajubilee.net, not .com. You have to remember .net on this, and you can see all the events that are taking place. And Sunday night we'll end the Jubilee with a real nice fireworks show. You know, the city has and remains productive with new hires and promotions. And this week we are joined by Lee Terry, who now serves as the lead planner for our city. Now, in no way is Lee new to our city. Lee has served with the city for the past 8 years with what we call the MPO, or the Metropolitan Planning Organization, before he was promoted recently to Planner 3 with the city's planning department. And Lee, you're a graduate of the University of North Alabama, and we're happy to have your expertise and the training that you have in seeing you apply to this new position. I guess just to kind of start off with a question or two, planning is key to creating a well-developed community. Can you tell our viewers what exactly the planning department does?
Well, the planning department is charged with administering the city's zoning, the subdivision regulations, and the long-range plan for the city. The planning department also reviews site plans for new developments. We review annexation requests. We assign addresses, as well as defining the voting district lines for the city.
So you talk about zoning, so kind of go a little deeper into zoning, give different types of, so what we know, obviously in a residential area, that's residential zoning. You just can't put up a convenience store in the middle of a residential area, right?
Yes, you have your residential zonings, and then your business zonings, and then your industrial zonings. And they're all in their defined areas. You use your zoning to try to protect those neighborhoods, keep one use from encroaching too much onto another one. And then within each of those zonings, there's even more breakdowns of specific types. In your residential areas, you have your single family, you have your multifamily.
The multifamily would be
apartments.
Okay.
And then you also have your townhouse zonings, so attached dwellings.
And all are needed for a community to be vibrant and to meet the needs of all the different types of socioeconomic groups. And
yes, and and just lifestyle choices. Some people would rather rent than own, so trying to accommodate every socioeconomic status and lifestyle choices people make.
And we're empty nesters, and we have far more home than we need. And I can see downsizing here soon. It's going to be nice to have that option with the New Homes Indicator. Of course, we have over 450 new sites under development right now.
Yes.
Those come through the department for
They-
that's the first touch, right?
They do. We are usually the first point of contact for most all developments. You know, we're the first face they see.
Okay, and that they being the developer?
developers, yes.
Yeah. So they come in and they have typically a site plan.
Typically, a lot of times the first contact we have is just somebody showing interest and gathering information to put together that site plan. So we try to be as knowledgeable as we can to give the best information we can and make sure we make this process as smooth as we can for these developers when they come in.
Okay, and so then there's the road system within the,
Yes, the road system, we have to be, you know, most of that responsibility falls to engineering, but we do have to work closely with them to make sure that any new developments that do come in aren't putting too much stress on our existing infrastructure, and that's a big part of what we do as well.
and engineering also works to make sure that the drainage is done properly so that it doesn't end up impacting other neighborhoods.
They do.
Yeah.
So it's a big collaborative effort.
Good, good. And then there's just from my observations in attending these meetings, technical review committee.
The technical review committee it's a group of experts. Basically, you have, you know, your Morgan County engineer is represented on there. We have utilities represented, just everyone who has technical expertise in providing their guidance on these projects.
AT&T.
AT&T is a
Yeah.
part of that, yes.
Yes. Making sure that everything's done right.
Yes.
Yeah. And then whenever we get into commercial developments that might be connected to state routes,
That's when Aldott comes
then
in.
ADOT gets involved in it. And they're looking at, used to, you could just have a curb cut most anywhere
Wherever
and
you
pull
want.
into to something off of a state route, and it's just not that easy.
It's
anymore.
not. That's another thing that has had to be incorporated into our planning process as well, is Aldott has adopted what they call access management principles. And so anytime we get a new development looking along a state route anywhere, we have to try our best to explain that process and tell why or why not a developer is going to get a cut and where they're going to get it. And but ultimately Aldott makes those decisions and has the final say of who has access and where it is along their roadways.
And an example, I guess, that comes to mind for me, we hear, you and I hear the phrase ride out.
Yes.
We understand what that means, but to our viewers, that means if you're exiting a new development, a commercial development on a state route, that Aldott wants you to get out. It's about safety.
It is.
It's about safety. And so they want you to come out of that development, and unless there's a traffic signal that will provide you a protected left-hand turn, they want you to go out of that development by taking a right out only. And then you'll go down to the next traffic signal opportunity, and there you're able to make a U-turn and head back in the other direction. Yeah, again, it's all about safety. And then there's, right now we're looking at, we have 2,500 acres where we have a new overpass going in, and it's basically for, if you were an artist, it's a blank canvas.
It is. It's a very exciting opportunity over there for the city to grow and for us to be able to guide that process.
So with that, there's some interim zoning it's in place, but also comes land use.
It does, yes.
Yeah, and so I guess you get to thinking about if we're traveling to the beach, let's say, or wherever we're going, and we're on an interstate, whenever we get off of the interstate to get fuel or snack, use the restroom, whatever the case might be, we want to typically get off and get right back on. So we want to get the closest and get to the nearest Chick-fil-A or whatever and be able to jump back on. Is that kind of how this land use is being looked at here on Highway 20?
It is, and part of the long-range plan that I mentioned earlier that was adopted a few years ago, the citizens of the city of Decatur were allowed a great deal of input into
The
that
One
plan.
Decatur plan.
The One Decatur plan that everybody has heard about. Part of that One Decatur plan was a land use plan that included that area. And so with citizen input, we were able to put together a map showing what the future land use is, and that is what is guiding us at this point for how we're looking to develop that area.
Okay, good. Well, it's nice. I saw pilings are going in place. Before you know it, they'll start putting old rebar around there and getting ready to make a pour. And they've got elevations are beginning to be come into play where you can see how the overpass will actually start maturing, I guess, through the construction process. Well, why is the planning department so important for a city? Why can't we just do what we want to do?
The planning department, we use those subdivision regulations and our zonings to ensure that any new development that comes in, it's done in an orderly way and in a way that doesn't negatively impact its neighbors. As I was saying earlier with the zoning, we have our defined zones to make sure that, you're not placing a large industrial development next to, 200 house subdivision. That's not what those residents, want next to them. So that's how it's important to grow, and I know growth has been an important topic, as of recently. And when that growth happens, we want to make sure it's done in an orderly way and in a way that fits with that One Decatur plan that I was mentioning earlier, because so much citizen input was put into that plan. That is our charge from the citizens on how they want to see the city grow. And so we try to stick to that as much as possible.
Okay, good. So you've been working in transportation planning for 8 years, but during that time you were closely connected to folks in our planning department. I mean, are you still sitting at the same desk?
I'm in the same desk. I didn't have to move offices or anything.
That's something. So that being the case, I would think that you've kind of had a to-do list of goals and things that you would like to accomplish when you were given this opportunity. Can you speak a little bit to that?
First and foremost, the number one goal of the department right now as I'm coming in is we're in the middle of rewriting our zoning ordinance.
All right, so it was kind of a time frame as to when it was, goes back to the 50s, doesn't it?
The zoning ordinance we're currently working with was adopted originally in 1956. And of course, since then it's been amended and it's been updated, but it's still, by modern standards, kind of, it's an ancient document in, planning world. So this new zoning rewrite, the major goal is just modernizing the document and bringing our zoning, up to a more modern standard.
Okay. And it, in some ways, just kind of tongue in cheek here, it's in certain developments, it's trying to create more green space, things of that nature. And so then you have the developers, whenever they see green space, that means that's less building that they can build, and that becomes where there's some work that has to be done, right?
Yes, that's that delicate balance when you're developing a plan like this of where you take input from all of those different parties and you try to balance the needs of the development community along with the needs of what the citizens of your community are going to expect from you. And that's the delicate balance we're trying to strike.
Yeah. So Sherry and I went to Destin for the first time last fall, and it was really nice. We're typically the Orange Beach guest, and you go to Orange Beach, and you just come right off of the highway, and you're right there at your condo. Whereas if you go to Destin, the condos are way off the road, and so they're doing road widening in Destin because of planning.
Yes.
Whenever they originally put that in, where they put the highway, it allowed for those kind of setbacks that allowed for improvements to come in the future. To do that, it's going to be kind of challenging in Orange Beach, isn't it?
It is, and that's where planning is so important. A lot of people, when they come to build something and they're reading our zoning and they see, well, why do I have to be set back from the property line so much? It is that future proofing that we're trying to do. You're not just building that structure for today. You've got to think 20, 30. Some of these houses in the city are over 100 years old at this point. They were built before we had paved roads. So with planning, a lot of it is trying to future proof and be prepared for what's to come next.
Well, that's interesting. You've worked a lot with what's called, the acronym is GIS.
Yes. Geographic Information Systems.
Can you speak a little bit about that?
That was my original training and my background. My degree from UNA is in geography, and I focused in GIS, which is the computer side of geography. It's a powerful tool that we use to organize spatial data. And to say that a little more plainly, it's a digital map, as simply as I can explain it, that organizes all of your data in one place. You can visualize it in any hundreds of thousands of different ways you want to see your data. You can stack things on top of each other. You can tell a story with your data. Being able to look at something and visualize it and where it is a lot easier than me trying to explain it to you.
So you can see it in layers.
You can see it in layers. You stack them on top of each other.
Some examples of those layers.
The main layers we use are our zoning. Anytime there are any zoning changes, those are updated, and we can view that, and we can see where properties are, lay the property lines on top of the zoning, our address points that we manage, so that we can visualize the city and what's going on that you can't see with your naked eye.
Okay, and our residents can actually visit our website, go to the planning department page.
And we have a link to the public-facing GIS, which is similar to what you would see if you were to open up Google Maps. This is our Google Maps. This is all of our data that we provide out to the public. So there's a search tool where you can type in your address, and it will take you, and you can see your zoning, you can see your school district, you can see your voting district, You can even see your garbage pickup day. It's all organized in convenient layers for you to be able to see everything about your property that you need to know.
Then it has a interactive pavement map.
It does as well, yes.
Yeah, that shows how our resurfacing, one is being improved, and then areas that we need to address. Those most concerning are in red, and then kind of need secondary or cautioned in yellow and such. There's always good legends there to help those that visit the page to see how to interpret it.
There's some very good tools for the community out there, yes.
Good. And then if wanted to see utilities, can that be, remind me, you have to go to Decatur Utilities to see those?
I
Or?
believe you have to go to their webpage to see those. I don't know that we provide those, but
Okay. And then you can visit the county page
for all of your property details, the Revenue Commissioner keeps all of theirs. They have maps. They have their online maps as well.
okay. And then going back, I'm going to take you back to your transportation days. On the transportation page, there's traffic counts.
Yes, the MPO provides a online map that will show the currently available traffic counts for the area. So, and their service area is larger than just the city of Decatur. So if you live in Decatur, Hartselle, Priceville, or Trinity, all of the traffic counts that ALDOT provides every year, I think the currently available is 2019. So you can go there and you can see what the traffic counts are on the streets around you.
Okay, but if you get to looking at the highways, especially those northeast of the river, it's pretty interesting how that data reads.
It is.
What transitions from, let's say, the Priceville exit to the 565 exit, or from, if you're heading south from Athens, how the traffic picks up. And
as you get closer to the city core, and yes, all the traffic counts, and it's interesting when you look at the data. A lot of people don't realize until they see the numbers exactly how much traffic comes through our city on a daily basis.
right, I was surprised to learn just from, let's say, from New Court to Torrey, the increase in traffic just in that spot right there.
Yes, yes.
It's like 10,000 vehicles a day.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
But just in that short span, you increase by about 10,000 vehicles.
Well, if anything that I've omitted that you'd like to share about the department?
We're just, working hard. One of my other goals is to, as always, make sure that we're providing the best customer service to the citizens that we can. So if there's ever anything that anybody needs, we're there. We're, like I said, we try to be as knowledgeable as we can and provide the best information we can.
So that does bring something to mind. So y'all work with the Planning Commission.
We do, yes.
So kind of explain, because they're a governing body
They are,
versus an advisory board,
yes.
which is a little different. They're appointed by, I get to have the privilege of appointing those members. Then they have a chairman. Explain how that works with you and then with the council. And
They approve the site plans that come through, the annexations, all of those are approved. Zoning changes, all of that is approved by the Planning Commission, and that's where you get your citizen oversight of what the government is doing. And so many things they have the direct responsibility of. When they approve it, it's approved, and then others, like with annexations or with zoning changes, those then go the next step to the city council for final approval.
okay,
But that's where our citizen oversight comes in.
okay. So if someone has questions regarding the planning department, how should they? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Reach out to us. We have Our email address is always a great way to send questions to us, and that's just planning@decatur-al.gov. We're also available by phone, 256-341-4720. And then, of course, you can always go to cityofdecatur.al.com and visit our department page, and there's a wealth of information there.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. We're glad that you're leading the department. You've got kind of a young team with you.
I do, yes.
Yes, but y'all are doing a great job. We want to thank our viewers for joining us today. Remember that you can sign up for our newsletter by texting Decatur, DECATUR, to 42828. And that's 42828. Our next edition comes out Friday, June the 4th. We hope that you have a safe and enjoyable Memorial Day weekend. Our offices will be closed in honor of the holiday on Monday, May the 30th. As always, emergency services will operate as normal, and then City Hall offices and the government will resume operations on Tuesday, June 1. Thank you. Take care.